I love horror. I think horror is a good genre to explore ideas in gaming. Some of my favorite games are Corpse Party, Clock Tower, and the Obscure series, but I noticed one game series that doesn't get a lot of love now and I think more people should experience.
Hi everybody, my name is Noki and today we're going to be talking about Spirit Hunter NG. Just a preference, this isn't going to be a full review of the game. I'm only going to be spoiling Chapter 1 and very minor Deathmark story. I wanted to create this video for people who are unsure about the game or this franchise itself. I just want to give you a little taste of what the Spirit Hunter series can offer to you. I personally think you should experience the story on your own. Each chapter takes about 1 to 2 hours. After completing each chapter, I think the game does perfectly leading you into the next story, because after you finish a chapter, you get kind of like a little mini story before you get the main next chapter to start. For people who are fans of the Spirit Hunter games, they may be confused on why I'm starting with NG rather with Deathmark. I personally think NG is a very beginner-friendly game for people who are interested in the Spirit Hunter series. But with that being said, let's dive into the world of Spirit Hunter NG.
Before diving right in, I want to give you guys some general knowledge. Each game is a chapter-by-chapter basis, and each game has you dealing with the paranormal and rumors. Each chapter is you basically getting an understanding of the spirits and why they're doing it. And you either have the option to purify them or destroy them. But no, depending on what you do to that spirit, it can either lead to a good ending or a bad ending. The game starts with you seeing two drunken businessmen walking down a lit up alley. A hooded figure emerges and talks about how they're enjoying their last summer break as a high school student. While walking away from the alley, you notice a girl in a Lolita clothing being heckled by a large man. The girl is clearly uncomfortable and tells the man to leave her alone. The hooded figure makes a statement saying she only got herself to blame dressed like that late at night. Out of panic, the woman locks eyes with the hooded man for help, saying she was waiting for them and they were running late. The large man ends up taking his attention from the woman to the hooded man and tells him it's hard to find a nice lady and he's not giving up on her. The hooded man doesn't respond, which aggravates the man to tell him that he's disrespecting an Ananome family, which the girl ends up being scared because she realizes that he's a Yakuza member. The hooded man ends up breaking his silence and tells him to quit yapping. This statement ends up pissing off the Yakuza member and he wants to see your face, so he grabs your hoodie. This is where the customization kicks in for your main character. You either get a smoothened face, some shades, facial hair, or you can have shades and facial hair. For my run, I decided to go canonly and how he looks on the box art. After choosing your appearance, you are prompted with 3 options on how to handle the Yakuza member. After selecting your choice, the Yakuza member goes down. The girl compliments on how fast you were and thanks you. The girl wants to know your name. For my run, I chose my name, but the protagonist's canon name is Akira Kijima. After you tell the girl your name, it seems that the cops were alerted about your altercation, so the girl runs. This is where the crisis choice kicks in. Crisis choice is a quick time event where you are given 3 choices and you have a timer going down, so you need to think fast about what you're doing. Some choices could lead to an instant game over, so be cautious about what you're choosing. I decided to run away and jump back to where you started in the alley. After some time, you realize that your only way to escape this is to jump the concrete wall. After running away from the cops, you decide to run to your aunt's bar, the Black Rabbit. At the bar, you meet your aunt, Natsumi Kijima, but you also hear your little cousin, Ami Kijima. You decide to take your cousin back to your apartment, but she notices something stuck on your door. It seems to be a black postcard with the riddle. Once Princess Kaguya returned to the moon, she said, "Albuments pubile. What does this mean?" You decide to pass it off as nothing and get into the house. After you two settle in the apartment, you hear someone at your door. You decide to check the peephole, but turns out there's nobody there. Omni gets scared, but it turns out to be your best friend pranking you, Senji Ananome, the son of the Yakuza boss. Senji ends up talking about the encounter you have with Mitsuru Hayuhashi, the Yakuza member from the beginning. He apologizes about the way he acted and explains that he's just a rookie. The following day, you decide to take Ami back to your house again after she finishes her homework, but you decide to go through the underpass, which is a shortcut to get to your apartment. While down there, Omni notices a photo booth and runs to take a photo. When you receive the photos, one of them is not like the other. A haunting image of Omni with multiple eyes is shown. Disregarding the image, you two decide to head down the underpass. Omni stops and sees a withered flower in a vase and shares that it's an offering by a girl she knew, Yuri Takamura, who died in a traffic accident. Omni knew Yuri because she lived in the same building as her, and the headphone she's currently wearing was gifted by Yuri. Omni asks if we can get fresh flowers for her, and we decide to go to the corner store. While in the store, you notice that the cashier is nowhere to be found, so we do some exploring to see if they have any flowers. While exploring, the cashier appears and tells us that they do not carry any flowers. After talking to the cashier, we end up bumping into Mitsuru. We notice that he's obsessing over a trainee idol, Momo Karuse. We are shown Momo's magazine spread, and all I have to say is she absolutely devoured this photo shoot. I have a love for gothic Lolita fashion, and the swimsuit with the ruffles is really cute. I want to take some time to show off some of the UI in this game. I really enjoyed the character screen in the file tab. It's almost like this grungy comic book style feel, but I love the color choices to represent caution and danger. Even the background art is creepily detailed, but it gives off this uneasiness vibe. But I think what really takes the cake in the Spirit Hunter games is the music. I know I didn't mention this earlier, but this game has a new feature for this franchise, which is the reaction bar. If you ever played Danganronpa V3, it's basically a reaction to a question being asked by somebody. You can either respond with being really annoyed, neutral, or positive. After heading back home, Omni decides to change your ringtone without your permission. She changes it to Momo single Wandering Rabbits, which I have to say is a really cute tone. Before Omni is picked up, you decide to promise her that you'll get fresh flowers for Yuri tomorrow. While out the next day with Omni, you end up bumping into the girl from the opening. She introduces herself as Kaoru Hazuki, a private school second-year student at Senshin High. She decides to tag along with you and Omni to the flower shop, and after getting the flowers, you and Omni decide to head back to the Black Rabbit. While at the Black Rabbit, Senji decides to look more into the Yuri accident and search online for more information. After searching online, you find her diary, which states that she also had the black postcard outside her house with the same riddle. After getting all the information you can about her, you and Omni decides to go to the underpass to replace her flowers. While in the underpass, Omni decides to change the flowers, but after you change the flower, you notice a ghost girl off in the distance saying, "Omni, run away or else." Then a large van emerges. Quickly thinking on your feet, you decide to run with Omni, but it turns out you're stuck in a loop and you're always in the side of the van. Safely escape mode kicks in, which is very similar to crisis mode, but for this one, your choices are very important because if you fail, it could be fatal. While exploring earlier, you notice a crowbar in the grate. You decide to pick up the grate and break a hole in the fence to the side. You decide to put Omni in there, but quickly need to realize where you need to hide. For my run, I decided to hop over the fence, but it turns out the van will still follow you, which ended up killing me. For the correct sequence, after hiding Omni, you need to look up for a pipe. You need to climb the fence and use the crowbar to dangle from the ceiling, and just to glide over the van. After escaping death, Omni comes out of her hiding spot and thinks that Yuri might hate her. Looking down, you notice that Omni's leg is bleeding, so you decide to give her a piggyback ride back home. After you two arrive home, you decide to patch up Omni and tell her to go clean up her wound. But while Omni's in the bathroom, you hear a loud scream. You get to the bathroom, but you realize Omni's gone. The only thing left of her is her blood-covered headphones. Panicked, you end up hearing a flute outside your house. You notice that the music is going all the way back to the photo booth by the underpass. You see a woman with cat ears playing the flute, asking you to come play with her. She reveals herself to be Kakuya. After hearing the name Kakuya, you realize she might be saying the woman's name from the poem Kaguya. Kakuya says, "Come play with me or you'll disappear like Yuri." She also states that she tried to play with Omni with the help of Yuri, which is why Yuri's ghost called out to Omni to run away when we first encountered her. Out of rage, you decide to attack Kakuya, but she dodges it and vanishes in the air. And that's it for the end of normal chapter. I know people will be upset with me for not covering the entire game, but I wanted to give you guys a little teaser about what the Spirit Hunter series is all about. This game is one of those games where you really need to experience it on your own. You're going to see a lot of body horror, a lot of spirits. I love looking at the art of the monsters. I personally think that people who are interested in horror will have a really fun time with this video game.
And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It is my first attempt to trying a video essay style type of video. I hope to do it more in the future, but this game I think truly is a gem in the horror series. I wish it had more of a huge fan base. I know that it was mostly popular around 2018 when Deathmark just came out, but I think a lot of people should revisit this game because I think the story in this game and the mechanics is very good.
But who knows, I might cover the first Deathmark and Deathmark 2 in the future, so only time can tell. I ended up finding these miscellaneous photos on the NG wiki page. I'm not 100% sure if these are promotional art or just fan-made art, but there's these little manga strips of them and like little chibis of the main character, so I just thought it would be cute to add in the video. But with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.